Hey guys, what's going on and welcome to a brand new video. This is your preview for the Leeds United versus Newcastle game. We've got Newcastle at the weekend at home at Ellen Road, which is the only confidence that I can have from this match is that it's at Ellen Road, and the rest of it, no confidence. So I think we should start off with the head-to-head and then we'll get into what Fark said in the press conference and some other news and why I'm worried. But the head-to-head against Newcastle, we've won 2 of the last 6. It has been 3 draws and they've won 1. So we have the advantage going into this game based off the last 6 matches. The last time we played them was a 2-2 draw. Before them was a 0-0 draw. So the last 2 games were draws. Before them was a 1-0 loss. That's when Shelby scored that free kick against us. Oh god. That's when they were like down here and we were like here like surviving, and then it just went the other way. It went the complete other way. We went down, they stayed up, and look at them now. Yeah, they beat us 1-0. Before them was a 1-1 draw. Before them was a Leeds United 2-1 win. And before them was the Leeds United 5-2 win in lockdown, where we battered them 5-2 and Harrison scored that absolute screamer from outside the box. But yeah, the reason why I'm worried going into this game, so Fark had his press conference, and what he had to say was 2 things we already knew, which is Ethan Ampadu's going to be out until after the international break. We already knew that. And Tanaka's out, which we kind of knew that was going to happen anyway. We knew Tanaka had an MCL injury. We knew this injury was happening, and we knew he was going to be out. What we didn't think we were going to hear is Okafor is a major doubt for this match. So it looks like Okafor, even if he is available, will not start. It looks like he might be even injured and not make the squad. That's another injury in the attack that we spent 15 million on. And besides that, what did we sign? 2 frees of injury-prone players, and that's it in the attack. The worry for me is you look at the attack, this is a championship attack. Yeah, I like Dan James, but we need competition for him. We need someone that can fight for that place against him. And if they do take that spot, at least you got Dan James on the bench with his pace, and that's a good thing to have. At the striker position, you got Pirro, who I don't think is a Premier League player, personally. You got DCL, and when you saw him in the cup game, might as well just keep Bamford. I think he's a better footballer, but we'll move on from that. We'll move on from that. Fucking DCL, why did we sign him? What was the point? Firstly, he's not even fully fit, so he won't even start this game. At least Bamford, if he stayed, you know, if Fark said he was in his plans, he would be available right now. He would be available to start right now, which you kind of think maybe we do need him. And the other striker, so we got Pirro, who I don't think is good enough. DCL, who's injury prone, I don't think's great. I think his career's just gone like that. And again, he missed an absolute sitter against Sheffield Wednesday. Could say 2 sitters, to be honest. 2 of the 3 were sitters. And then we got Mecha, who I like Mecha. I like what he brings. He brings a similar thing to what Bamford brought, which is why I like him as a player. And I'm like, he can be good. But the worry for him is he's also a free because he has injury record. He has an injury history. This is not good. We need some more in the attack. And then you look at the midfield, right? We said, oh yeah, we bought the defense and we bought the midfield. And we're not going to buy another midfielder, and I know this. But you look at the midfield now and you go, we're down to our last 3 midfielders and we play a 3-man midfield. We're down to our last 3. We're down to Gruev, Longstaff, Stack. If one of them go down, we're going to have to change formation or play someone out of position in midfield. Like, we're already at this stage, and it's the 3rd game of the Premier League season. This squad has not been built good enough for the Premier League to survive. Yeah, the attack especially. I think the defense has been built good. I like the defense. I like the signings they brought in, even though I thought BL was a bit shaky against Sheffield Wednesday. You can't judge a player off 1 game. I like the signs that we brought in defense. You got Ball now, who, again, looks shaky, very shaky against Wednesday, but you can't go off 1 game, as I said. And he's just a backup, basically. He's like that last option. If we do have an injury crisis at centre-back, he'll come in. And I like what we've done with building the squad from the back. And then the midfield, I like the midfield, but right now there is a worry for me. 1 more injury, and we're down to having to either play someone out of position in the midfield, or you change to a 4-2-3-1. They're the only 2 options. And then you look at that and go, well, the only 10 we have is Aronson, the only player who can play 10, because Pirro cannot play the number 10 role. Oh my god, I'm sick of seeing him in the number 10. But then you look at the attack, and you get, like, as I said, you got Nonto and Okafor and Harrison on the left. Well, Okafor's injured, and then on the right, you got Dan James and Aronson. Dan James starts. And then up front, you got, as I said, injury-prone Mecha, injury-prone DCL. Not good enough Pirro, in my opinion. And that's our attack. This is not good enough for the Premier League. And also what came out in the press comments sounds like we're only going to make 1 more signing in the attack. Just 1 more signing in the attack. 1. In my opinion, we need 2. We need a right winger and a striker. We need a main man. You know, we just need to spend some money because we only spent 15 million on the attack. And that was all on Okafor, who's now injured, who's a major doubt. So I'm looking at the attack right now and I'm like, we need a number 9. We need someone who can get the goals, like a good number 9 who's reliable to get you 8 to 10 goals, which we don't have because no one knows if Piro's good enough. As I said, Metro and DCL are based back off injury-ravaged seasons. And in my opinion, are they going to be injury-free this whole season? Probably not if you look at history. And then you look at the run, I like Dan James, but is he good enough to start in the Premier League? And I think we've seen that in the opening couple of games. I like Dan James, as I said, and I think he's a good option off the bench. But then the only other player that can start in that position is Aronson. So I'm looking at the attack and I'm like, we're already, and I'm looking at the team in general. We're already entering an injury crisis. But let's go through and see how I would line up in this game. So I would go with Perry in goal, Bogle, centre back. Even though he was shaky, I'll go Beal and Rodon as your 2 centre-backs. I would start Goodmanson at left-back. And then your midfield 3, I mean, it's going to have to be Longstaff, Stack, and then Gruev in the 6. So Gruev in the 6, Longstaff and Stack in the 8s. And then your front 3 should be Dan James on the right, Nonto on the left, and then Lucas Metra up top. Because I think Metra is the only actual striker, the only striker that we have left that I'm actually confident that he'll do well, because I think he's got a lot to his game and a lot that he can bring. So I want to see that front 3. And like, people were going like, look at all these injuries Newcastle are having. We have a chance. Really? Because even though they got all these injuries, Asula starts for us, by the way. Asula, their striker who's deemed not good enough to start ahead of Anthony Gordon. He starts for Leeds United. He's our best striker. He's better than Piro. He's our best striker. He's our starting number 9 if he's at Leeds United. And like, even their midfield, you know, you got Ramsey, Guimaraes. I don't know if he'll be available, right? Is it? I can't remember who went down, to be honest. No, Guimaraes will be available, I think. I'm not even quite sure. But you got like players like Ramsey and Willock, who in the midfield can still run us absolutely ragged in the midfield if we actually go with a 2-man midfield and change it to a 4-2-3-1, which I don't think we will. They would absolutely just run through us in the midfield. That's why you can't change that, and you've got to stick with the 4-3-3. Against Newcastle especially, this is the one team where before the season even started, I said we're going to have to use a 4-3-3 against them, because if we don't, they'll absolutely just run through our midfield. I expect them to probably run through our midfield anyway, even with like Willock. You know, I think Willock still runs through our midfield, by the way. It's a very big worry for me. Of course, they got Anthony Gordon out because of the red card, so he's got a 3-game suspension. Isaac, of course, not part of the squad because he's a you know. Joel Linton, a doubt. Don't think he'll make it. Tonali's a doubt, and he won't make it, I don't think. Lewis Hall's a doubt for them, and Sven Botman's also a doubt for them. I think it was Shah that's out as well because he had a head collision or a head knock, so he's not allowed to play this game. But like, I just look at the backups that Newcastle have, and I know where they are in the league, by the way, but I look at that and say, well, they'll beat us, so how the hell are we going to have a chance against most teams in the Premier League? It is a worry. It is a massive worry for me. Now, I'm going to wait until the end of the window before I do a whole rant about the transfer window. I'm going to wait till the end of the window. But as it currently stands, I am worried, and we do not have enough. We need 2 attackers at least. I mean, as I said, what was said in the press conference is we're only going to get 1. But we need 2. We need a winger and a striker. We need to spend some money, actual money, on a reliable right winger and a reliable striker that can get you 10, as I said, 8 to 10 plus goals. Like, I'm worried about this season. Now, going into this game, what do I expect? I mean, I've said this all week. At best, a 1-1 draw. I generally think at best we get is a 1-1 draw, but I'm going to be hopeful for that and say we're going to win this game 1-0. A 1-0 lead. Draw this. Sorry about that. Draw this game 1-1. I'm going to say we're going to draw this game 1-1. Please. I think the whole cause for Farkout is absolutely stupid through the whole week as well. I mean, oh my God. We've played 2 Premier League games and we've got 3 points. Calm down. If you're going to be like this, wait until we're at least 6, 7, 8 games into the season and see where we are. You know, that's the start of the season. I mean, people have already made their mind up. People made their mind up last season, you know, before last season started, you know, after we lost in the playoffs. People probably even made up their mind before then about fuck out. And they won't change their minds because they can't seem to fathom the fact of I might be wrong. But I think it's harsh that people are calling for fuck to be gone. I mean, who do you bring in? Like, if you guys like the video, make sure you do like the video. Comment down below what you think and what your score prediction is going to be, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because we are on the road to 1K, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.